Yo, Moe Abbassi back at it again, and in today's video we're going to talk about why you should be dangerous as a man. If you've been soft, if you feel like you're giving in too much into your pleasures, jerking off, watching porn, eating shitty, sleeping in, then you're going to want to stick around to this video, because the things I'm going to share is going to absolutely shift your perspective on your masculinity and who you are. And this information absolutely changed my life. So, when I was 16, to start this off, I got into boxing, and I did that for about 2 years pretty seriously. And then I stopped because I went to school and I, kind of began my journey as a man. And in the last 3 years, I started it up again. And I started doing it pretty seriously, competitively, sparring regularly, training regularly, at least 3-4 times a week. And I started to notice that with me doing this like random activity, which was ultimately pretty violent, my life actually started to become better. I started to be more assertive in my communication. I started to get what I wanted, take that leadership, that initiative in terms of the things that I wanted in life. My relationship improved. I started to notice I was more calm and present. And at that time, I remember just asking myself, like, why is it that me going back into this activity improved every area of my life? And so I remember reading a book, this was about 2 years ago, called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. This is a book by Robert Moore. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest you to read it. And in it, he talks about how as men, we have these 4 different archetypes as who we are. We have the king, who is supposed to be that leader part of us, that present king who is loving, giving, and can take the lead and basically be the leader of the people around him. And then the second archetype as men is the warrior, right? King, warrior. And the warrior is the person who can take intense action, the person who can do and go out there and get shit done, right? He can go into war. He can be that person around his family that can protect them. Then we have the third archetype, which is magician, right? And magician is basically that logical, rational male. You're not overly emotional. You can think clearly. You can be logical with what you do. You can be rational with all the steps that you take. And then the last thing is the lover, right? The kind, caring, giving person who can let go, be present, be humorous, enjoy the moment. But if we have from these 4 archetypes any of the shadows, then that's where our masculinity starts to fall. And so if you have the shadows of the king, you start to become this angry, resentful person. If you have the shadows of the warrior, you start to start things, but you never finish them. If you have the shadows of the magician, you think logically, but you overthink. You are a procrastinator. You're always trying to be perfect. And then the shadows of the lover, which is essentially the person who is always giving in to momentary pleasures, is trying to always satisfy itself with food, sex, porn, whatever. And so when you fight or when you do something dangerous, you ultimately, I realized even this for myself, is like you learn how to deal with pain. You learn how to stay calm when things are thrown at your way. So a punch is thrown in your face. You learn how to deal with that, and you learn how to deal with the adversity. Stay calm, stay rational, still take action, still hit back. And I'm not telling you here to become a fighter. I'm not telling you here to do boxing. Although martial arts, I think, is one of the best things that every man can do to actually apply the concepts that we're talking about here. But the point is that you have to essentially become anti-fragile. And the only way that as men we can do that is by becoming dangerous men and doing things that are uncomfortable to us, that aren't easy, that is really, really hard by choice, so that it can actually be applied into our character. We can become that king. We can become that warrior. We can become that logical magician. We can become that lover, and essentially be that integrated masculine leader. And so if you're watching this and you've been having trouble with your own masculinity and you feel like you're just kind of a soft bitch, like you're just giving in to momentary pleasures all the time, smoking, drinking, watching porn, not doing your work, procrastinating, all these things, then what I would suggest you to do is go into a Muay Thai gym, go into a boxing gym this week. Go do something dangerous. Go on a roller coaster. Do something that's uncomfortable. Instead of sleeping in your cushy bed, sleep on the cold, hard floor just for one night. And what you'll notice is that the next day, even though that was an uncomfortable thing, you're going to be a little bit more anti-fragile. You're going to have built this toughness within you, and you can do things differently. This is why a lot of entrepreneurs I know will take cold showers. They'll do that every single morning, because getting up when you're all comfortable and you just got out of your bed to jump into a cold shower, that's fucking rough. But you know what it is going to allow you to do? It's going to allow you to build willpower. It's going to teach you how to deal with the pains and adversities that are inevitable in life. And so I really wanted to read you this quote here. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. But basically, if you guys haven't read a book called Antifragile, in it he talks about how those who basically in life have the hardest experiences will often be the happiest. And the reason why is because if you go through a hard experience, then that thing can no longer hurt you if you actually come out the other side. And now you're actually used to having that thing in your life. You can deal with it when it actually shows up in the future. And so if you feel like you're soft right now, easy step you can take, of course, martial arts would be one of them, and I suggest every man to do that. It helps you build discipline and become that dangerous man, or do those dangerous things so that you can become that integrated male. But if you don't want to do that, then take the necessary steps forward every week to do something uncomfortable. Take a cold shower, sleep on the hardwood floor, go and do something that's really difficult for you, or that's fearful, like going on a roller coaster. That's one thing that was really fearful for me that I ended up doing last year. And so this will allow you to essentially become that integrated male who's not always giving into those pleasures and being that dangerous man. So if you like this video, make sure to first comment down below what that difficult thing is going to be for you and what your plan is to do it this week. I want to hear from you and see you actually putting this stuff into action. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to click that thumbs up to support the channel, subscribe, all that stuff. And remember to never fucking settle, and we will talk soon. Take care.